You've missed out on the drama if you haven't seen this. Patrick Bet-David left no place to hide for a political flip-flopper like Joe Walsh, who spent the past 4 years fitting the textbook definition of a Democrat without wanting to take on that name. Just take a look at this heated exchange that even forced PBD to ask him to leave near the end.
Look, Pat, I enjoy this and I love chatting with you, but brother, again, just be real with me. I'm not a Democrat. You can call me a son of a bitch and a dishonest opportunist. I'm not a Democrat.
You said you are glad you voted for Biden, and you said you're happy you did.
Yeah.
So you've had a year and a half to assess that vote,
and
you're still happy about it.
I don't regret that vote.
Okay, so what do you think? What the situation today? The situation we're in today. Why are we in the situation we are today?
No, stop, my friend.
Exactly. Let's get emotional.
Listen.
Why are we in the situation we are today? Tell me.
I asked you a specific question.
Which is what?
Am I a Democrat?
Based on what you're saying that you don't regret your vote, of course you're a Democrat.
That makes me a Democrat, even though I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a registered Democrat.
Because you supported policies of a Democrat.
Pat,
if I vote for a Democrat or a Republican,
Republicans and independents voted for Biden.
If I claim I'm non-emotional,
come on, man. It's a nice podcast, but you got deal in facts.
If I claim I'm not emotional, which you're saying you're not, okay.
Pat,
if I claim I'm not, what part of your vote today?
Did independents vote for Biden in 2020?
What part of your vote today?
See, he just doesn't listen.
Because you haven't answered my question yet.
How much longer is this, guys?
But nobody's interested in political tags anymore, Joe. We're more interested in your political record over the last 4 years, so let's have a quick rundown of that. Joe Walsh went from being a staunch Trump-voting Republican in 2016 to falling out with Trump and running against him in the Republican primaries in 2020, before dropping out of the race and voting for Biden. And then this time literally campaigning for the Harris-Walz ticket at rallies this time and voting for Kamala Harris for president? It doesn't take a genius to connect the dots. If it walks like a Democrat, talks like a Democrat, it's probably a Democrat, which is completely fine. But besides, there's nothing inherently wrong with this political evolution, so why not just admit it? By the way, we expose these verbal tricks like no one else can, so please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to become part of the conversation. But wait, there's more. Because Joe Walsh got even more agitated to the point that he was almost getting up to leave after calling Patrick un-American.
You know, I'm sitting 5 feet from you.
I get that, 3 feet.
Listen,
so what?
3 feet.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you to your face, I am not a registered Democrat.
What part of the policies you voted for are you happy with today?
I'm not happy with... Let me finish a thought,
I want to hear it. Policies.
As I've said before, I'm not happy with the vast majority of policies Biden has done.
Yeah.
I'm not a Democrat. I don't regret my vote.
Yeah.
Plenty of independents and Republicans voted for Biden too, Pat. They're not Democrats. Maybe they regret their vote, but they're not Democrats.
But that's a difference, though.
No, you called me a Democrat,
That's a different, though. You supported...
You know what? You're un-American.
You supported Democratic
policy. You're un-American.
You can't say that. Why would you say that?
It's your opinion.
Because he's calling... No, exactly.
It's your opinion.
How stupid, Adam, is it for me to say that?
But if you can...
It's not true.
If you can validate the point...
But Pat sits there and says, I'm a Democrat.
But if you validate the point, I'll take it.
I love you, man, and this isn't emotional.
If you validate the point, say it.
But there's no point.
Well, Pat,
then tell me your policies.
There's no point.
What policies you voted for? What policies you voted for?
Pat,
are you happy for the vote?
Pat,
yes.
I'm not going to tell you a damn thing if you continue to call me a Democrat.
Then tell me what policies you don't support.
No.
Then tell me what policies you don't.
I'm not.
Then
I'm a Democrat.
Because tell me the policies.
Hey, Tyler, how much longer?
Tell me the policies.
Okay.
Joe, you can get up and leave. I'm totally fine with that. We'll open the door for you.
I may, and it's
you do,
Joe. You're going to be fine.
No,
you're going to stay there. You're good.
Wow, this is probably the second time I've seen the PBD panel get so heated after the infamous podcast with Anthony Weiner. But honestly, if Joe Walsh, who by the way was part of the coalition in this re-election, called Republicans for Harris, can't even tell you a single thing he regrets about voting Biden into office, I don't even know what leg that claim has to stand on. Just watch this clip of him in Pennsylvania right in the final stretch of the campaign, attending an event along with Bill Clinton for the Harris-Walz ticket.
You all give me great hope. They introduced me as former Congressman Joe Walsh, left out one big important word. Former Republican Congressman Joe Walsh. A proud Republican for Harris. Something is going on in this country right now. I hope you can feel it. I feel it. Just spoke with former President Bill Clinton for a moment, and it struck me what's happening right now. Republicans and independents and Democrats coming together, right, to put their country first. When I was in Congress 10, 11, 12 years ago, if you would have told me I'd be on a stage in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, Tea Party Joe Walsh introducing Democratic President Bill Clinton, I would have told you you're smoking something.
Now, of course, even if you give him the most charitable reading, perhaps some people on the right would call him a RINO or a Republican in name only, but I just don't think it even fits that box. There's plenty of people in the Republican Party that are anti-Trump and against that MAGA brand of conservatism, with people like Ron Paul and Mitt Romney. But those are people trying to change the party from the inside out and align ideologically with the traditional conservative positions of a few decades ago. That's just not what Joe Walsh is, who almost checks every single box right now of what a modern Democrat believes. And saying that you're not a Democrat because you're not registered as one, that's just as absurd as saying Thomas Matthew Crooks was a Trump supporter just because he registered as a Republican in 2021. At some point, you fall into the same category as people like Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, who no one would deny are just Democrat talking heads at this point. Now check out this absurd response from Joe Walsh next when asked what he supports in Biden's presidential legacy.
Tell me what policies you supported that today are working, of Biden's policies.
I'd have a hard time picking. I can give you one.
Sure.
I'm glad Biden got us out of Afghanistan. I'll give you two. I like the simple infrastructure bill, that of the bipartisan infrastructure bill that Biden signed into law. Those are two that I approve. The vast majority of things Biden did, I don't support.
So you support the way we left Afghanistan?
Absolutely. I support us getting out of Afghanistan.
Let's clarify that. Do you support us getting out, or you support the way we left?
I'll answer that. I supported us getting out.
Because that started under Trump and the Doha agreements.
Yeah.
Hey, my friend. Yeah, that was a promise of Trump's that I supported. And I'm glad Biden got it done. And I believe that any way we would have gotten out of Afghanistan was going to be ugly and messy, and it was. But I respect Biden for having the balls for doing it. Yes.
Incredible. If he's as out of touch with reality as to tout that absolute disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal as a victory, which left the Taliban back in power for 2 decades, I don't know what to say. But I guess it's predictable when Joe Walsh conveniently failing to commit to a political cause has just been fading into the backdrop of the political picture. Tell me in the comments, though, what you thought about this exchange, because it's such a new perspective to visit this clip now in hindsight of the election.